Alrighty. Representing Kink over here. Oh, Kink Jumper. So, I got a very interesting question in the comments section of yesterday's live stream. Whilst everyone was commenting on what I asked them to comment on, things like people you would like to see me interview on this live stream, as well as the different time zones you guys are in, so I can find a more suitable live streaming schedule for you all. I also got a very interesting question. Russell, Eric, how you doing, guys? Chris? Oh yeah, that K. Where is it? Get my nipple out of here. There we go. Boom. The infamous K. Boom. This was a very interesting question that I got. Let's... This one. Excellent. You can see that. Great. From Raziel Schnitzel. Sterling, you mentioned networking. This is crucial for everyone to improve in general. I imagine that being in your industry, you've had to do a lot of networking. Do you have any tips, recommendations for where to learn how to improve one's networking skills? Or maybe you have a book on it. I remember you had a proper good nugget in a previous podcast where you said something along the lines of, if you want to network with successful people, provide value to them when you reach out. And I even replied, great question. In fact, I'll do a live stream about it tonight on exactly that topic. So that's what I'm going to be talking about right now. Edgar, how you doing, buddy? Good evening, all you bin chickens. Drop a drop a bin chicken emoji in the chat. Do a trash can and then do a chicken. Let's see who can do that. Let's see if anyone is keen to continue the bin chicken bullshit that we talked about yesterday. So I figured that today I would give you guys at least my take on how to successfully network, because I have done that multiple times throughout this career, and I've even done it in previous careers where I've gone from basically being a relative nobody to being someone of standing within a certain community, within a certain career, within a certain industry. Bloody bin chickens. There we go. Good on you. I can't do emojis on this interaction, and it's a damn shame. Yes, Russell with the win. Bang. Bin chicken. Russell with the win. First one. First blood. Well done, sir. Okay. So, to give you guys an idea of like what of my experience and why in networking and how it's significant, how it's a success story, I guess, and how you can take some of the principles and apply them to yourself. So for those of you who may not be aware of it, I'm from a very remote place in the world. I'm from rural Western Australia. So not only am I from the other side, and currently I live in Los Angeles and I work in one of the hardest industries in, okay, here's my CV. I live in Los Angeles, but I'm from the other side of the goddamn planet, from a very small rural farming town in buttfuck nowhere, Western Australia. I work in one of the most heavily sought after industries for men in the entire world. And it's also one of the hardest industries for a guy to get into in the world. Because there's no job application. Like no one puts up ads on Craigslist for guys to get into this industry, unless they're gay talent. They do, but not for straight male porn stars. So, how the hell did I do it? How the hell did I go from small rural town in Western Australia, Western Australia, by the way, our capital city of Perth is the most isolated capital city in the entire world. It is a 5-hour flight from Perth to Sydney, for some context on like how big Australia is. So within our own damn country, we're isolated. So there's that. And then obviously we're nowhere near Europe. We're nowhere near America. But we still have the internet. We still have the power of the internet. So how did I go from that? From, I guess, and from a place where, and Australia doesn't really have a porn industry. Australia has like 2 to 3 companies max that shoot what we call boy-girl porn, i.e. the type of porn I do professionally. And of those 2-3 companies, one maybe shoots a couple of times a year, and the other 2 maybe shoot once a month max. So there's very little opportunity from where I came from to even get into it. There's very little work. And yet I still managed to do that. Came from a place where there's heavily isolated, and then managed to network my way from Australia, managed to get into the industry in England, and then managed to network my way through the scene in England and get to Europe and work in Prague and Budapest. Worked for the likes of Rocco Siffredi, and then managed to network through there and eventually make my way out to America, where I have now worked for basically all the top companies in the world at this point in pornography. I've worked for them all. And I've worked with some of the biggest names in the industry as well, in terms of the stars, the girls that I've worked with. So, how did I get to hear from such humble beginnings? That's what we're going to be talking about today. And basically, I'm trying to break down as well as I can my method for doing that. Good to see some more bin chickens in the house. Thank you, Danny. Welcome, bin chicken. But probably is going to be some bin chicken merch to come. I highly anticipate that. Yes, hardest, literally. Roger Moore, welcome back again, mate. Welcome back again. Oh, any thoughts on Abby Winters or Girls Out West? They don't really touch guys. I think Girls Out West had maybe done a couple of scenes, or maybe it was Abby Winters actually. He did a couple of scenes that were couples shooting their first porno, and that's how a guy got on the website. But they don't shoot dudes like me. They do mostly girl or solo girl stuff. Both of those websites now. Abby Winters used to be based in Australia, and now it's based in the Netherlands, I think. So they sort of up and left. Yeah, but Girls Out West is literally just that, girls. There's a few more like solo girl or girl companies in Australia than there are boy-girl companies. So there's more opportunity for girls in Australia. Although not much, but there's slightly more opportunity. Yeah, maybe I should add bin chickens to my title card. Yeah, put it in the put it in the tags, put it in the meta descriptions for YouTube to find it. Sorry, Ryan. I keep calling you. What do I keep calling you, Roger Moore? It's a Bond name. I'm a fan of the James Bond movies. Okay, Ryan. So I keep calling you Roger Moore. Purely out of habit. How can you not find the trash can emoji, Edgar? Yeah, don't type the word bin. It's American YouTube. So type in trash can or trash, and you'll find the trash can emoji, Edgar. Then you can do the bin chicken. Yeah, correct, Russell. He is now Roger. Well, I'm sorry. Unfortunately, Paul Rush, I did not use your straight razors. Although I would recommend them to anyone who's looking to get a nice clean shave. I think it was correct, Eric. I think it was actually a CVS Bic that I used in this whole thing. Anyway, so let's add some value to you guys. And the first point I wanted to make in regards to networking successfully is exactly that. When you're looking to connect with people, you're never looking to connect with somebody who is, for want of a better word, below your level, right? You're always looking to network and connect with people who are sort of more established than you, right? That's the typical. That's basically what you're seeking to do, so that you can get more opportunities, get further along, progress yourself. Right. So one of the keys to that is to add value to them. Not, and this is an even more important part, is not to try and take value from them. Right. So you're not in the context of my situation, if I'm pitching a porn director, which is what I did to get my break in the industry, right? If I'm pitching a porn director, imagine, put yourself in their shoes, the kind of person you're trying to network with, the person you're trying to get in touch with. Try to put yourself in their shoes for a split second and realize how often they are being hit up to, in my situation, to cast somebody. How many dudes, like, think of yourself, even as a small-time porn producer, think how many emails or messages or Facebook DMs or whatever you must be getting every freaking day from dudes trying to get in the industry, right? And guess what they all say? And I know they say this because I get the exact same DM in my Instagram. Let's see if I can actually find an example, because I know I got a message like this a couple of days ago. It's basically, how can you help me? Can you do this for me? Can you do that for me? Please help. Get me, in my instance, get me into the porn industry is just, where's the damn thing? Oh, I think I found it. Yeah, here we go. Perfect example. I got this like on Monday. Hey, what's going on, bro? Just a young gentleman from Chicago, want to get into the porn business. Any tips? ? Now, where's the where's? And I'm not expecting him to offer me I'm not expecting him to offer me money or anything like that. That's not what I mean by offering value. But where is, in that example, this guy, and I get that all the time, and I'm sure every single porn star, every single porn director, anyone involved in the porn industry gets that message at least once a week from some random dude on the internet. Hey, how do I get into porn? Can you help me get into porn? Can you cast me? And these are very often, these are people from like all fucking corners of the globe that are nowhere near any actual porn production for a start. But we'll get onto that in the next point. So they're coming at it from trying to take value away from somebody else. Not take value away, but they're definitely not adding any value. It's like, I'm trying to in this situation, right? He's asking me to give my time and my energy to help him out of some mystical, cosmical generosity that appears out of nowhere. Not saying I'm not a generous person, but I'm not a fucking charity case for a start. Right? So the first thing you want to be doing when you're reaching out to someone who's more established than you, that you're trying to network with, is find a way to add value. Now, what does it mean to add value to someone? Sometimes it can be as simple as being unique in your approach. Sometimes it can be as simple as being unique and refreshing in the way you reach out to them. And I'm going to give you an example of that. Other times it can be, hey, I want to learn. I'd love to learn XYZ from you. I would love to offer my services. I've had people email me things like that before. Actually, some guy DM'd me on Twitter about helping me out with like YouTube thumbnails recently. I might even take him up on his offer, because he took the initiative. He even created a YouTube thumbnail for me and sent it to me in my Twitter DMs, and it got me thinking. Maybe I could. I'm looking for someone to help me with thumbnails. Maybe I can just hire this guy. So adding value to the person you're trying to network with, again, to recap, can be being unique or standing out in your approach in general. It can be finding a way to add to save them time and energy, or it can be a way, or it can be adding some kind of value that they don't currently have, or they're currently seeking, or they're in need of. Now, I will actually show you guys the email that I sent that got me cast in my first ever porno. Do you want to see that? I reckon you guys could quite enjoy that. Let's catch up on the chat here. Roger Wars' new name. Yep, correct. Yes, knowledge seeker. There absolutely is. He asks, is there any way to make money doing porn as a man whilst also staying anonymous? POV top views. 100%. Yes, there are quite a lot of. But you need if you're going to do it as an amateur dude, then you basically need a girl, and the girl kind of needs to show her face or at least show her body. There are some girls. There are actually a couple of examples on Pornhub of couples who have pretty prominent, pretty popular accounts. And the dude is just a penis. It's all shot POV, and the girl is shot from the eyes down. It's a very, very niche category, but it is possible. It is more possible you're more likely to be successful if you're a couple, and the dude's anonymous, but the girl shows her face. So there's that. Or you could be the dude who. There are also producers, and I know I'm friends with a couple of them out here who do POV content, and they don't show their face. They work with like mainstream girls, but that's more of a business than a amateur like kind of hobby. You know, bin chickens everywhere. Where we at? Bull Rush reckons he's a bin rooster. Okay, excellent. Tell him why you're mad. I'm not mad at all, Black Russian. Yes, correct. Yeah, bin chicken equals winner chicken dinner. There we go. So let's show you the email. This will be the one. Oh, okay, perfect. So you can even see the date. 21st of December 2016 at 6:55 p.m. was when I sent this email. So Aussie Arse is a company out in Australia. It's basically it's basically the main company that shoots boy-girl porn in Australia, and they shoot maybe once, twice a month. So I knew these are my the ones I had to sort of go after. But this is the actual email I sent. So note the tone is very professional. I'm trying my best to not come across as like desperate and needy and asking for things. And there's a good example as I follow down. Hi guys, I'm Stirling and I'm interested in doing some scenes for Aussie Arse. Should have put a full stop there. Grammar. I've been working as a straight independent escort for the last 2 years, and I want to get into the porn industry. I'm very professional, and so first of all, I'm establishing the fact that I've got some relevant experience. Because here's the thing, again, putting yourself in the person's shoes who you're trying to connect with, if you're trying to add value to them, right? So here's the thing with being a porn director. One, they get pitched all day, every day about dudes because every dude thinks he can be a porn star. Everyone thinks they would love to be a porn star, and they think they can do the job. The unfortunate reality is that if he takes a risk on a dude and the dude flops, as in he can't get his dick hard, then he's out a couple of $1,000 at least. Okay, so it costs him money to take a risk on a dude who's new. But it's a double-edged sword because they also do need male talent, and they also do need new male talent because they can't shoot the exact same guy every single day because that's not the website. That's not, with websites like this, that's not the point. It's not like rockosafridi.com where it doesn't matter if it's Rocco Safridi shooting every scene. It's a different website, right? So he has a double-edged sword there. So by establishing here that I have some degree of competency in this field, aka I have had sex professionally in some context, it will alleviate his concerns about my ability to get hard. And I continue to do that as I go on. I'm very professional and take my sex work seriously. Trying to be professional here. I'm an exhibitionist at heart and love to entertain, so this kind of work has always appealed to me. I'm trying to not come across as like hey, I'm like the opposite of that. This is a good example of what to do. Here's a bad example of what someone could write. Hey, I'm really horny and I like to fuck. That would be a terrible example, right? So I'm saying like I'm an exhibitionist. Okay, I don't mind, which mean AKA I don't mind fucking in front of other people. I like to entertain, AKA I'm going to create it's like a subtle way, a subtle flex, a subtle way of saying we're going to make good porn. If you use me, the porn will be entertaining. The porn will be good, right? And this is what I mentioned before about standing out. Is one way of offering value. So I'm offering value a couple ways here. I'm offering value in the fact that, okay, I've got experience, relevant kind of experience in this industry. So you're taking less of a risk with me than you would be with some other guy. But two, I'm standing out. Here's how I stood out. I've taken the liberty of preparing some demo footage for you, and I have some nude and non-nude professional photos for you as well. The footage is pretty amateur. It was our first time filming like this. Ha ha ha. But hopefully it demonstrates that I'm comfortable being filmed and able to perform on camera. So I don't want to share that Dropbox link because I think it might still be active. If anyone just happened to copy that, then. So basically, it's what I did was I created some demo footage with a couple that I used to swing with, and I cut it up into pieces into like, here's doggy style, here's missionary position, here's cowgirl, here's blowjob, whatever. And obviously there's someone in the room filming it. So I had an example of me being filmed and staying hard on camera. Most guys are not going to take the effort to do something like that to pitch a porn director. And I knew that. I had an instinctual like knowledge that would be the case. So I cut something together. So there's the Dropbox link. And I mentioned I filmed it with a few swinger friends of mine. Obviously, this is for your eyes only and not to be distributed anywhere. I've been swinging for 6 years as well, so I've had a fair bit of experience in group situations, and I'm very comfortable in them as well, as you can see. I can also provide my 3 most recent STI tests going back as far as October, all clean. Again, that's adding in a layer of professionalism. It's adding in the fact that I know that I will have to get STI tested for this work, right? I understand how this works because I've done my research. I'm not coming in blind, right? And again, here, this next bit is where I'm trying to make sure I'm not. I'm making sure I'm not coming across like I'm trying to take value. Because think about it, like I'm just trying to get my foot in the door here. This is literally like me trying to get my first ever porno back in Australia. So I'm not going to say, so I've said here, I'm based in Perth on the West Coast, and I know these guys shoot in Melbourne. So I've said flying myself to the East Coast is no problem at all. I'm not expecting flights or accommodation of any kind. What am I doing with that? I'm saying basically like, because this is my first time, and I know you have to take a risk on me, I'm mitigating the amount of money you're risking by using me. Like after the fact, I actually ended up moving after I got my break with these guys. I ended up moving to Melbourne and continuing my career. But I knew that I had to get my foot in the door somehow first. And what am I doing? I'm adding value by minimizing his downside, right? Being unique in my approach, standing out, and showing that I have some degree of competency and can solve his problem. So his problem is I don't have enough dudes to film. His problem is I have to keep using the same couple of guys because he was literally using the same 2 dudes for a long time, and it's getting stale. And they're sometimes not even available because they have other full-time jobs, right? And I want to shoot the same girls again, but I can't shoot them with the same guys because it's the same scene again. So if I have another guy, that solves the problem. There was an interesting interview with George Clooney done once. George Clooney was talking about how he was trying to get cast. Let's just stop sharing the screen because that's the end of the email. George Clooney was trying to get cast in Hollywood, and he kept going to casting. What do you call them? Like casting interviews. And he kept getting turned down. And then he realized that he was coming at it from the wrong kind of approach. He was taking the wrong approach to it. he was looking to get cast rather than looking to solve the director's problem. And the director's problem is he needs someone who can act this role. That's a very important distinction when you're approaching this kind of stuff. So putting yourself in that person's shoes and then figuring out how can I add value to this person to solve their unique problem. So that is key number 1 in the Sterling Cooper book of networking success. Bin chickens in the chat. Drop some bin chickens in the chat if you like this so far. I want to see bin chickens in the chat. Patrick, Sterling, how many rewrites of your first email do you think will be flooding the porn industry after this live stream? Not that many, because we're not a big enough channel yet, Patrick. And they have to find the director's email, Patrick. You guys don't know you guys don't know the emails of these directors, and they don't follow you on Twitter or Instagram, so you can't slide in the DMs like I can. That's another thing I figured out, and I'm going to touch on that in point 2, which I'm going to delete it right now. Thank you, Atlas Shrugging. This actually does lead, at least reads as an example of a good cover letter. Same basic principles, right? That's why I'm saying the stuff I'm going to teach you guys today. It can be applied in any field or any industry. The principles are the same, There we go. Minus that part. Yeah, minus the ha-ha part. Exactly. Yeah. Welcome. You the man. Welcome. Go to the YouTube app notifications. See, I told you I told everyone yesterday. If you miss these live streams because they're not showing up in your YouTube feed, get the YouTube app on your phone. And it'll give you a notification when I go live. Yes, Russell. Yes, Eric. Black Russian, bin chickens all around. Thank you. Thank you, gentlemen. Bin chickens. Colton with the bin chicken. You guys are fucking hilarious. I love you. Oh, good Lord. All right. Okay. Key number 2 to networking success, and that is studying the network, like developing a roadmap of who is connected to who and who's connected to who in your industry and how to get in touch with them and how to reach them. This is sort of like doing your homework before you pitch someone. So for those of you who might not know this, the porn industry is basically 99% of the porn industry networking tends to be done on Twitter. That's at least mainstream professional porn. It's basically all done through Twitter. And this is actually the same with most sex work. So like webcam girls all network through Twitter, escorts all network through Twitter, porn stars all network through Twitter. It's for some reason it's the one social media platform that allows titties and full hardcore pornography to be on it without they shadow ban us when we post that stuff, but they don't outright delete us like Instagram and Facebook would. Speaking of which, this is my first live stream that's going to Facebook, so we'll see if this gets my page taken down just by the things I'm talking about. Luke, I can't miss out the bin chickens. Luke with the bin chicken, Edgar with the bin chicken, and Patrick with the bin chicken. Thank you, lads. Russell, I'll tell you right now, you do not want to eat an ibis. They're giant. You're right. They're like giant sky rats. You do not want to be eating one of these things. So, anyway, back to my point before you distracted me with bin chickens. So you want to study the network. So as an example, how did I study? Well, for a start, how did I get in touch with that director? For a start, and how did I study the network? So I knew. I basically went searching for websites in Australia. This is how I did it to start with. I went searching for websites in Australia pornographic websites that were based in Australia, that were obviously based in Australia. So Aussie Arse was a pretty obvious example of one. And then I went on their website, looked for their social media pages, which they had links to. Okay, and then I had a starting point. And then from that, I was able to look at, okay, well, who are some of the people that they are following on Twitter? And I went looking through that. Oh, okay, this person's a porn star, this person's a porn star, this person's a porn star. And I looked at some of those profiles, some of the ones that had the largest followings. Who are they following? And I started to develop an understanding, because I mean, like the porn industry in Australia is pretty small. It's like a talent pool of like 3 dudes and maybe 20 girls max. It's not very comprehensive, and and they're all escorts as well. So it's not very comprehensive. So this is pretty easy to start with. But that's the map I started with. Like, okay, this person is a porn star. They're connected to this person. They've worked with this person. They worked with this person. And then I obviously created my Twitter profile, followed these people. And then started to, and this is when I figured out, this is how I figured out where all the porn was being shot as well, because they're all talking on their Twitter feeds about and talking about and taking photos of places in Melbourne. So I'm like, oh, this is where all the talent is based. This seems to be where everything is shot. And then again, went back to one of the websites. This is with all the websites that I pitched. So I ended up pitching a few different websites in Melbourne. Again, looking through their social media, trying to find any contact information they might have, both on maybe their Twitter or maybe their Instagram, anything I can find, or on their websites. One of the things you'll very often come across is a lot of websites, even pornographic websites, will have some kind of like application page for girls. They'll typically specifically say, we're always looking for fresh female talent. Hit us up at blank email, or hit us up with this email contact form, or something to that effect. So you can basically just rip the email from there. Or if they don't have that, and this website didn't, the example I just showed you, they don't have that, or at least they didn't at the time. You can go through the like the members help section. If someone has trouble logging in, typically, if they're a smaller website, they're not going to have like an entire and this is another key point here, which I'll touch on this in the next point, to do with starting off with these smaller fish in the pond, shall we say. Typically, they're not going to have like a whole support department, like it's going to be a one-man show. So whoever's handling like the customer support or the model applications is probably also the director if it's a small one-man show. So if you get an email off that and you pitch it, you're probably pitching the top guy, right? If you're starting out with some of these smaller fries, some of these smaller companies. And this can be applied through pretty much any industry. So you're studying the roadmap, you're figuring out who knows who, and then and from this point, I basically figured out, okay, I got a model in my head of like, okay, these are the companies that are based in Australia. And then I got a model in my head, and then I started expanding from there. I was like, okay, I knew who some porn stars were, big name people like Kieran Lee or Rocco Siffredi or Johnny Sins or whatever. So I followed these guys on Twitter, and I looked at who they were following, because big accounts tend to follow a smaller number of people who they're intimately related to, not related to, it's stepson, stepsister porn, who they're intimately close to, so they're actual friends with, who they actually work with. So I was able to figure out, okay, who are these people, who they all know. So I got a picture of, okay, these are the people who are, these are all the performers who are based in America. These are the ones that are based in Australia. These are the ones that are based in the UK or Europe in general. And then I started to get an understanding of like which companies were shooting where around the world. I was able to piece this all together through looking at the connections on Twitter, importantly looking at some of the posts people made and like what cities they were tagging themselves in when they were shooting for certain companies. You start to piece this together, like little detective work. So now you've got all that knowledge in the back of your head. You've got a roadmap for where you want to get to. So for me, and I literally, this was literally the plan. The plan was, okay, I'm going to start shooting in a Melbourne. I'm going to start shooting in Melbourne. I'm going to shoot there for 6 months. Then I'm going to find a way to get to. Then I'm going to go to England, and I'm going to find a way to get cast in England. I'm going to try and find some network to get my foot in the door in England, and repeat the process again. And then I'm going to do the same thing for Europe, and then I'm going to do the same thing for America. That was I literally planned that out 18 months in advance prior to the day I landed in LA and shot my first scene in LA. Executed perfectly. Now, I was fortunate enough to have one of the when I was looking to shoot in England, I knew there were some girls in Australia who had shot for the website Fake Taxi in England. So I reached out to these girls. I was friends with them. And I said, hey, could you put me in touch with the director? When I go over there, I would very much like to shoot for them. Right. And then I also had some directors, a director in particular in Australia, who had done some affiliate marketing work with a website in England. And he put me in touch with the director over there. So I had 2 contacts for websites in England before I even landed there. Right. So this is the power of studying the network and having a roadmap. You know exactly who to hit up next and where to go to get your next foot in the door. Next content, how to start your own company. I haven't done that yet, Chris. I have not done that yet. Okay, we've got Bin Chickens in the chat. Nice work. Get a man, Bin Chickens. Thank you, Caffeine God. Thank you. No, Chica, do you feel like you had to kill your ego whenever you went out of your way to network with people who didn't necessarily need you? It seems like a submissive position to be in. Did you feel like you had to kill your ego whenever you went out of your way to network with people who didn't necessarily need you? Well, that's not the right approach. I mean, you don't want to have an ego. That's correct. You don't if you're networking like this, you don't want to have an ego and be like, oh, because that, especially in our industry, that's like the fucking biggest killer of a dude is like no one, and that's the next point I'll touch on. Actually, no, I'll touch on that point last. But no one wants to deal with a dickhead, basically. No one wants to deal with the dude who's walking around like, oh, I'm the fucking man. No one wants to cast that guy. No one wants to be on set with that guy. So, but at the same time, I'm not coming from the perspective of these people don't need me, because as I explained before, they have a problem to solve. And the problem to solve is we need to cast guys who are reliable, and it's hard to find reliable talent. So I'm solving the problem for them. So they do need me. They do need me. You've just got to, and whatever context you're going to apply this information to, you got to figure out why that person needs you and how you can solve their problems for them, or how you can add value to them. Where we get to? What? Not Roger Moore, but Ryan Moore asks, "What was it that made you want to pursue this line of work so tenaciously?" I'll tell you exactly what it was. I had a family member who was dying from cancer, and when someone's dying from cancer, it's a slow, long, painful, drawn-out process. So you're faced with the reality of death. You know, you're faced with the reality of mortal coil on a daily basis. And I thought about death a lot. And for 30 days straight, I asked myself the same question. And that question was, if I died tomorrow, what's the one thing I would regret having never done in my life? I woke up every day for 30 days. When I woke up, I asked myself that exact same question. And for 30 days straight, the answer was pornography. Get into porn. Do porn. That's as logical as an explanation as I can give you, Mr. Moore, as to that's why it was so tenacious. I don't know why it was so tenacious. Into like what I don't really know what sort of fueled that. Probably because I'm a bit of a pervert, but here we are. It worked. So good question. Uh, where we at? It is kind of like that, Russell. It like mentally, that's kind of what I was doing mentally, like with the red strings, like this person, there's this person, and this is from here, and this is from here, and you get a general. It's more of an intuitive feeling. I didn't actually sit down and like write it all out, but I got after I just looked. I was just looking at it all the time and studying it. I got an intuitive feeling for where people were based, where different performers were based, where different directors were based, where different studios were based, and that's how I could tell. That's how I could tell. Who was shooting where. The hardest part of doing this sort of networking in our industry is actually figuring out who the hell the directors are, because no one really retweets the directors. They retweet the porn stars all the time, and they retweet the studios all the time, but the directors themselves don't get retweeted that much, but all the talent still follow them. So you have to sort of look out for the occasional gem of like a profile that comes up. It's like, why the hell is these porn stars like replying and liking and retweeting this particular person? Maybe there's someone in the industry, and you check out their profile and you scroll down and you figure out, oh, this person's a director. Bam, follow them, and find a way to get them to follow me. One man's way. Thank you for the super chat. Is there a drug taken for? Okay, yeah, okay. That's not how you spell it. And I think you did that on purpose, so I didn't get banned. Thank you. A lot of Jews. Is there a drug taken for that, or just certain dudes who do that? There are ways you can. There are absolutely 100% ways that you can significantly increase the ejaculate volume when you do the deed. I have an entire chapter on it in my book. One really simple way that you can do that is literally just to save up for a day or two. Not too long and not too short. There's like a sort of a sweet spot for most dudes, and it tends to be around like 2 days. If you save up, when I say save up, I mean don't ejaculate for 2 days. When you do, you'll have a significantly bigger load. But if you go for a bit too long, if you go like 3, 4, 5 days, it kind of doesn't do anything. It kind of backfires. So there's an interesting sweet spot there. But yes, and drinking plenty of water, staying hydrated, is another way of making sure like the total volume of it makes it more fluid, but it gives you more total volume to expel, shall we say. Davina, research grow penis network profit. Well, there's no need to put a question mark after the profit. It's working. That's why we're doing the channel. But that's pretty much how you do it. Yeah. Atlas Shrugging. Ego will kill your ability to get hired or get promoted in any industry faster than just about anything else. I would agree. I've seen plenty completely incompetent people get promoted over more qualified people with egos. Yeah, absolutely. Like that's the thing with networking in any industry. It's about appeasing. It's kind of about appeasing other people's egos more than anything else. Unfortunately, it's not as much about competency. I mean, in our industry, that's not the case because you have to be able to do the job. And it's obvious if you can't do the job. But I know in other industries, I've got friends who are in IT and this sort of stuff. Yeah, having it's not always the person who's most qualified who gets promoted. It's the person who has better people skills that tends to get promoted. Damn all the bin chickens in the chat. Damn right, where's your bin chicken, Marty? Drop a bin chicken in the chat, Marty. Join the party. Russell, that is also not how you spell it, but I'm not going to put that up on screen. Yeah, correct, Marty. Edge for a couple of days and almost shut your girl's head off. There are a lot more things you can do to increase the volume, but that's just one really simple way that anyone can do. Yeah, I agree, Chris. The point is to know when to flex your ego and when to keep it to yourself. Like it's not even flexing your ego; it's sort of flexing your competency. In what they would call a subtle flex, like showing, okay, like here's my skill set, here's what I'm capable of doing, without rubbing it in someone's face. The 4 steps necessary to fuck your way into the USA. Exactly. That's exactly what I've done right here. Yes, join us, Marty. Join the bin chicken army. I'm not calling my chat that, by the way. Just prefacing this. But Marty, you're an absolute bin chicken. Okay, so the third key to successfully networking your way through any industry is a technique I've heard described as like climbing the ladder, and this is all about social proof. Okay, so really quickly, Atlas Shrugging, yes, that is 100% true. Pineapples and strawberries do make it taste better. Yeah, that's absolutely true. Alpha Sloth, welcome to the chat. What did you miss? Well, you missed bin chickens. Alpha Sloth, drop a bin chicken in the chat if you want to join the party. So, the third bin chicken cult is not a cult. It's not a cult, Marty. We're not a cult. So, the third element of good networking in any industry is social proof, and leveraging that social proof, leveraging previous experiences to land future experiences, future jobs, future opportunities. I learned this technique, oddly enough, from a book, and the book is called. It's a fantastic book. I recommend everybody should read this. It is extremely relevant nowadays. And it was but this was written a long time ago. I'm going to drop it in the chat. So the book is called Trust Me, I'm Lying, Confessions of a Media Manipulator by Mr. Ryan Holiday. It is a fantastic book. In the book, he details exactly how he went about basically leaking fake stories through the media, and passing himself off as a fake expert on certain subjects, and leaking it through the media. And he also gives examples of how he was able to build successful brands, and causing certain brands to go viral, quote unquote, through using the same kind of you could call them manipulative tactics, but they're really just social proof tactics. And I'll break them down here for you now. One man's way. Thank you very much for the $50 super chat, man. That's amazing. Thank you so much. Damn. That's the biggest super chat we've gotten. We've only been going for two. We've only had super chats going for 2 days, and bam, we dropped a big one. Thank you. Do you ever get exhausted being with chicks for work? Bin chickens, you know. Yes, bin chickens unite. I didn't want to call this chat the bin chicken. I did not want for the bin chicken thing to take off. I'm going to be honest, but look, if that's what the people demand, then bin chickens unite. One man's way. Do I ever get exhausted being with chicks for work? I'll be honest. Yeah, I'll be honest. It's not the girls that I get exhausted with. It's here's what I get exhausted. Get bored of. Get sort of tired of sometimes. I get tired of being told how to have sex by somebody else. That's the thing I get tired of. Because we have to work with the director, and we have to work with the camera guy and the lighting guy and the audio guy and stuff. You know, so we have to sort of accommodate. We're not just having sex, but we're having sex with a camera. So. So for me now, it's actually like the novelty is having sex without a camera on in the room. That's really quite a novelty, and it's really quite enjoyable. More so than like now, the novelty of this has kind of like switched. So that's kind of where I'm at now. And it's I'm probably going to be taking a break for a few months at the end of the year, if I'm being honest. Sort of like refresh the batteries a little bit, focus a bit more on this stuff. So, good question. Thank you. Yes, Alpha. Bin is Aussie for... It's Commonwealth for trash can, actually. Not just Aussie, it's Commonwealth for trash can. So, the English, New Zealanders, I'm pretty sure maybe even Canadians can use that word. What the hell, Russell? I'm like this chicken. You're just holding the feathers. I do not know what that expression is even referring to, Russell. Where the hell did that come from? Oh my god. Anyway, well, he's correct. The bin chicken is an ibis. It's an Australian bird that sits around and eats out of trash cans. That's what we're referring to. We say bin chicken. Now that's not a bad idea, Russell. We need someone to animate a chicken in a bin saluting. Now you got me thinking. Okay, now you got me thinking. All right, we've just come up. Okay, fine. We've just come up with a mascot for our glorious new republic. For the new sexual revolution. Fine. The mascot is the animal on our coat of arms is going to be a bin chicken, probably with a little Soviet hat. I think that'd be pretty funny, in a trash can, like doing a salute. That's the image I've got in my head now. Thank you, Russell, for the inspiration. What did we get to? We got to what's a better people skill than blowing a girl's back out? Well, it's a pretty good people skill, I'll tell you that much. Got some Facebook love. Do most dudes in your industry grow the member? If so, is there a specific size that is standard? No, they don't actually. I'm as far as I'm aware, I'm the only dude who's actually I'm the only dude who's vocal about it. I know there's a couple of other dudes who've used some of the techniques I've used, but no one else talks about it. I'm the only guy who's honest about it. And there's not really a standard size. Like it's good if you're longer than like 7 inches. That's good. 8 to 9 is fantastic. Most of the superstars are like 8 plus 9 inches. It's actually pretty rare to the dudes who are like 12 inches plus or 12 inches is actually pretty rare. There's not that many of them. It's a lot of camera angles and stuff to make it look, and fisheye lenses to make things look a bit bigger than they actually are. Don't ask for bin chicken promotions at KFC, Chris. That's a terrible idea. I did say that, Russell. Yeah, some girls are just into the sex and you go at it with that camera rolling. Yeah, that's on set. Yeah, that's absolutely the case. When you've got really good chemistry with someone you're working with. The book Influence by Robert Cialdini is also very good. Yes, I agree. I've read that book. That's a fantastic book. I recommend everyone should read that as well. It's one of the... I need to compile like a list. The more books I read, there's certain... Like some books are really... Like a lot of books are really not that great. They're just full of fluff and filler. And then there's some books which are just like nugget of gold after nugget of gold after nugget of gold. Brigham, welcome to the chat. Good to see you. Brigham's an artist. You can make this. Can you make the... Okay. Hit me up on Brigham. Hit me up on either Twitter or Instagram, or use like my Twitter or my Instagram. Okay. And let's make a bin chicken. Let's make a bin chicken, an ibis in a trash can, giving a salute with like a little Soviet outfit on. You reckon you can do that? If you can do that for me, mate, I'm happily paying you. That'd be hilarious. Change the green screen? No. We'll change the green screen for you. Probably, Patrick. My entire merch line will probably be bin chickens, unfortunately. Yes, I'm curious to see this coat of arms now as well. Yes, Mr. Roger Moore. Have you ever had anything in your life where you thought even the worst day doing this is better than the best day of doing anything else? Absolutely. I think that. Every time I've had a bad day, I'm like, oh, God, that sucked, blah, blah, blah. And then I'm like, wait a minute. You got your dick sucked for a living. Relax. Appreciate it. You know, you got to get used to things like that. Oopsie. Bin chicken. Well done. Excellent. Message me on Instagram, and we'll get the bin chicken going. Excellent. Yes, excellent. Nice work, Brigham. What did I get up to? Yes. Yeah. So I was trying to explain the idea of climbing a social ladder and using social proof to sort of network your way through things. So the way that he describes it the way Ryan Holiday describes it in Trust Me, I'm Lying, Confessions from a Media Manipulator, and that's what I basically copied to do this, is you start small. And I mentioned this before. You start with small fish. So in my example, I started with small companies in Australia. Then and he uses this exact same technique when it comes to leaking stories through the media, he would start with very, very small niche blogs about a particular topic. He would leak a story to them as an expert or pitch them a story idea, say about a product he was launching or he was representing, or an ad campaign idea or something like that, something newsworthy, something catching, something worth writing about, right? Because all the in his context, bloggers and stuff, this has kind of changed a bit now, but their entire revenue stream is based upon like eyeballs and getting clicks. So it's like the more you can, again, this goes back to the idea of adding value to someone. You can get someone to write about you by basically writing the article for them, in a way, like telling them, hey, I think it'd be cool to write about. I have this product. It's here's why it's interesting. XYZ thing. Here's why I think it would appeal to your audience, blah, blah, blah. And you've kind of written the article for them, done their job for them, given them a day off work. And they're like, yeah, this sounds like a good idea. Let's write it, especially if they're a small fry, a small blog or whatever. And so, and again, applying this to my industry. So I get work for a small company. And then when I go to pitch a larger company, I use that previous experience as kind of like as social proof, as like, hey, an example, hey, fake taxi or whatever, whoever I'm pitching, I pitched them, actually, I think I did this exact pitch via WhatsApp. Hey, so-and-so from fake taxi, I'm a new performer out here in England. I have spent the last 6 months shooting for this company in Australia. Here's their websites, so you know that I'm not bullshitting, that they're legit, and I'm on there. Would love to work for you. And then, lo and behold, after I get cast for Fake Taxi, then I'm pitching somebody who maybe works at, who maybe shoots for Dorsel, a French company in Europe, or who else do I shoot for? Carrops or Babes or Brazzers or whatever. And so you're using your previous experience to leverage your way up to the next rung on the ladder, and so on and so forth. And in Ryan Holiday's book, he talks about, okay, he'd pitch these really small blogs, and then he'd take that article and he'd use it to pitch an even bigger blog, and then he'd take that article, use it to pitch an even bigger blog. Hey, so this we've just been written up about in, I don't know, Tech Geek magazine. Maybe you at Wired would like to read about our new product or whatever the hell it is, right? And you baby step your way up that ladder until you get on Huffington Post or I don't know, whatever's a big blog nowadays. There's not really that many big blogs. Or get up in the New York Times or whatever, and then your story eventually goes on to a mainstream network. But in this book, he also talks about how he was able to completely bullshit his way into doing that as well. He would hit up certain blogs pretending to be because they wouldn't do any vetting. None of these journalists would vet the source. They'd just be like, I'm an expert on piano. Here's what I think about blah, blah, blah. And they'd write it, credit him, and it would get published, and he'd be known as now this expert on piano, having never played a key of piano in his entire life, as an example. And it's a really good read because it kind of shows you how little journalistic integrity there is floating around these days. And this was written years ago. This isn't current. This was written like 7 years ago, at least, maybe 8 years ago. Yeah, this is a while ago. But the technique still works, and I've used this exact technique to network my way from Australia to England, and then from England to Europe, and then from Europe to America. So applying the previous principle I talked about, knowing the roadmap, so I know who's connected to who, I know who knows who, I know I know if this performer has worked for a bigger company and I'm friends with them, or I've met them through Social Circle, or I've worked with them for a smaller company, I can then hit that girl up and be like, hey, who shoots for this? Who's the director for the so-and-so? Can you put me in touch with them? And then I can leverage my previous experience to start baby stepping my way up that ladder. Okay. So that's technique 3 for networking your way through any industry. Bin Chickens Ahoy. Where we at? Udaman. You ever have trouble finding the sweet spot and finishing? Sometimes I just can't seem to get there. Honestly, yes, that's something I've had difficulty with in the past. It's probably I attribute a lot of that to the fact that I am circumcised, so I have far less sensitivity down there, which is also oddly enough a double-edged sword, which is why I'm able to last pretty long. So it's like a good and a bad thing. You've got to kind of find the positions that hit that spot for you the best, and sort of use those as your go-to. You know, and even if you don't want to come, you don't have to come. But that tends to drive girls fucking bonkers if you don't. If the guy doesn't orgasm, they seem to think it's some reflection on themselves. Do with that what you will. Thank you very much, Chris. Much appreciated. Brigham, this is basically how I got my first mutual art gig. I did one free and then used it to get a pay gig. Yeah, bingo. There's a lot of people talk shit about like exposure bucks, you know, especially with artists, like the idea, oh, you should do this work for me for free, Mr. Artist. It'll be great exposure for you. I mean, there's an element of truth in that. Artists tend to get the raw end of the deal with that kind of stuff more than anybody else. It's pretty rare that you'll get a computer programmer working for exposure. It's kind of rare. It was written in 2012, Marty. There you go. Yes, he does have some good writing on Stoicism. He's a big proponent of Stoicism. He has an entire YouTube channel about it too. Bin Chickens in the chat. Bin Chickens. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about, Alice. Yeah, way to drive your girl or wife crazy is intentionally don't come. Yeah, it does tend to drive them bonkers. I feel like I should be doing paying for this advice. Thanks, you're the big brother we all in bed. Well, drop a super chat and drop in a super chat with a bin chicken. That's how you can pay for the lovely advice I've just given you, is to light up a bin chicken. Yeah, exactly, Brigham. Yeah, fuck that. Not in control of the exposure after that, and you don't want it. Bingo. One man's way, another super chat. Here we go. You should pick the top company or chick you want to work with and write your resume. Blow up the biggest condom you can find, inflate it, put your resume in it, tie it to like a balloon, and ship it to the target. That is a very interesting strategy. Huh. Right. And deliver a floating condom to somebody with it. Right. Yeah, there you go, Denny. Yeah. Yeah, if you're circumcised, you're probably going to get significantly less sensitivity. Yeah. The Brotherhood of the Bin Chickens. Ooh, that's not a bad name. That's not a bad name. Yeah, we're going to come up with some good branding around this. Anyway, let's get on to point number 4, the last of these sort of keys for networking success that I wanted to touch on. And that is about your approach. So you'll notice, again, referring back to the email example I gave you, that I'm doing it in a very professional, pleasant way. Right? My language is very professional, with the exception of the ha-ha I threw in there. But also when it comes to working with people, and because networking is everything in our industry, and reputation is everything in our industry. That's how guys get cast. They get cast through reputation and through word of mouth. So you want to be someone that people want to work with. You don't want to be that annoying guy. And someone touched on this before in the chat. You don't want to be the guy who's walking around like it's a dick measuring contest the whole time, swinging his ego around the room, being a pain in the ass to work with. It's about reading the room properly and knowing when to add value to people and knowing when to shut up, because you're trying to sort of leverage this current opportunity to move on to the next one, right? And basically paying respect and paying homage to the people who you're around, who are clearly on a higher rung than you in terms of like the social circle, the social status ladder within that industry, like paying homage to that, and in a way like playing that game. It's kind of the same way that people play, like the whole corporate ladder games. Where I mentioned before, it's not necessarily about competency; it's about who can appease other people's egos and who has better people skills that tends to get promoted. Very much the same with sort of networking your way into an industry or to a clique or to a group or whatever it might be. It's the approach you take. So you want to be someone who people enjoy being around. You want to be someone that people enjoy having around them, having them in our situation, having on set with them. All right. And one example of what not to do, a good example of what not to be like, having a degree of situational and self-awareness is very, very key to this. So knowing how, kind of being aware of how you come across to other people and being aware of how you make other people feel. Because I had a guy came out to America from a performer I know who works back in Europe. But he works in Europe. He's English. He speaks English. He works in Europe where people can't really understand him properly because he speaks with a very thick English accent. So he kind of gets away with stuff that he didn't get away with when he came out to America. He came out here, got a couple of gigs. I even fucking gave up a job so he could have the job because we were with the same agent. He ended up going to this shoot, and it was a blow bang shoot. So one chick, 6 dudes, lots of penis sucking. And he managed to simultaneously piss off like 6 people. He basically annoy everybody who was on set by basically like talking himself up the entire day, and simultaneously he would do the same thing where he would simultaneously talk himself up and then say how humble he is, which is never a good idea. And he had such little self-awareness that when he came home that night and hung out with me again, he told me, the director absolutely loved me. Everyone on set absolutely loved me. It was great. And no shit, that same night, I went out to dinner with some other performers. A little social gathering. And I was talking to another male performer. And he was saying, "Oh man, I was on set today, and there was this really annoying English guy on set. He just wouldn't stop talking. He wouldn't shut up. He wouldn't listen to the director. Blah 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 blah." And I'm like, "Wait a minute, was this on like so and so set?" He's like, "Yeah." Was the guy like? Did he look like this? Was this his name? He's like, "Yeah, that's the guy." I'm like, "Oh god." So he'd come home from this situation completely oblivious to the fact that he had pissed everybody off and made everyone like not want to be around him. So being able to read the room, being aware, being self-aware of how you come across to others and how you kind of make others feel can be key in successful networking and adjusting your strategy and making sure that you're sort of getting the results you want when you're given the opportunities to make a significant difference or to make an impression. That's the key there. Being self-aware is pretty important when it comes to being able to make a significant impression and benefit from it. So there we go. Patrick has suggested the People's Republic of Bin Chickens. I do kind of like this. I do kind of like where this is going. Damn. Where are we going with it? I'm missing out on a lot of the chat. The Brotherhood of the Bin Chickens. Okay, I see where you're going with that. League of Extraordinary Bin Chickens. This is also fantastic, Marty. The League. Okay, I'm going to write this stuff down when we when we go offline. Okay, League of Extraordinary Bin Chickens. Good question, Atlas. It's not the same for girls. It's more about appearance and popularity with the fans for the girls that get cast. Yeah, the girls can do stuff that makes them, more popular fans, and the girls can definitely apply these same principles. And I know girls who are really popular with, like, the directors love having them on set. Whenever they get, and here's the thing, some of these girls aren't necessarily the fans' favorites, but they're the director's favorites. So when the director has a choice on who he wants to pick, he's going to pick one of these girls who applies these same principles. But when the director is being told by head office, oh, you have to book XYZ girls, he unfortunately doesn't necessarily get to book that girl. So these same principles can apply to these girls in this industry, but from my experience, the ones that are really, really popular don't. The ones that are really, really popular and sort of get a lot of accolades and are very popular with the fans, the ego, the narcissism kind of gets to them, and they do the complete opposite of everything I just mentioned. Some of them can be absolute pains in the ass to be on set around, but because they're popular with the fans, they have to get cast. Like the directors have to cast them because the company demands it, because they make money for the company. Yeah. Yes, bring them all under the hammer and sickle. Exactly. People's Republic of Bin Chickens. Okay, the League and the People's Republic of Bin Chickens, or the League of Extraordinary Bin Chickens. I think that those two are my top favorites so far. I do quite like those. Yes. Devine, How to Lose Friends and Alien People. A good book, but a bin chicken movie. True. It is an absolute bin chicken movie. I do like how we're using bin chicken as a verb now. Oh, you mean this? You just about died when you saw my thumbnail image. Do you mean this thumbnail image? Do you mean this one? The glorious People's Republic of Bin Chickens? Is this the one you're referring to? Because, mate, we're only just starting. Trust me, I've got a lot of stuff in the pipeline, which I think you will very much enjoy. Mentioned that you use some questions. Oh, well, yeah. Look, when you're in a chat and I don't really have a general topic, Mr. Moore, I will be I'll be questioning you about it. In fact, I'll probably if I ever interview someone like Rollo Tomasi or Abu American, someone who's like particularly religious, that'd be a fantastic opportunity to jump in and have a chat about your particular brand of Catholicism, shall we say. Yes, thank you, Danny. Everyone, smash that like button. Bin Chicken for life. We're wrapping up here. We're wrapping up. So make sure you smash the like button. Make sure you subscribe and hit the notification bell if you're not already. Share the video around if you enjoy it. We've got to grow the People's Republic of Bin Chickens. The League of Extraordinary Bin Chickens. I'm not sure. Okay. In the comment section below, here's what I want you to do. In the comment section, I want you to leave a comment. Should the chat be called the League of Extraordinary Bin Chickens? God, I love that. Or should the chat be called the People's Republic of Bin Chickens? In the comment section, not in the chat here, in the comment section, once we're done with this video, comment below which one you think it should be called, because the chat is going to be named one of those two things from now on. Okay, it has been decided. Tom Bombadil in the house. Welcome. Bin Chicken life. That bin chicken lifestyle. You know it, buddy. You know it. The dude saluting in the back should be a bin chicken. That's good. That's good thinking. Okay. So this dude at the very back here could be a bin chicken. I see where you're going with this. I see. This is why I love chatting with you guys. We're creating this little whatever the hell this is together. Learn the value of people skills and knowing how to read the people around you, from the porn industry, the Tao of pornography, bin chicken life. Bingo. Patrick's very excited about this merch that's about to drop. Look, the merch is the last thing I'm concerned about. I'm more concerned about an emoji that you guys can drop in the chat. That would be awesome. Yeah, we need your Communist Party meme, but Marx, Lenin, and Stalin replaced by bin chickens. Ooh, that's good thinking. Yeah, basically, I want the bin chicken wearing the same kind of communist garb, like Che Guevara with the hat and the military garb, but it's a bin chicken. Okay, smash that like button in the ass, as Only Zul has suggested. Yeah. Eric says bin chicken bowlers or bin chicken bin chicken bangers. Now, I got to keep it kind of on theme. So, the League of Extraordinary Bin Chickens or the People's Republic of Bin Chickens. I feel like with the communist theme, it's probably leaning more towards the communist mockery. It's probably leaning more towards the People's Republic of Bin Chickens. But I just love the sound of the League of Extraordinary Bin Chickens. So please, when I'm done with this, leave a comment below about which you think the chat should be named, please. You've got a penguin mural. All right, well, look, I'm going to get off this live stream, so Brigham can send me some messages on Instagram, and we can get this fucking image done, because this is going to be hilarious. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in once again. I hope you enjoyed what we talked about today. I hope you got something out of it. If you did, please give it a share. It would really help the channel grow. And we'll see you tomorrow, okay? Bin chickens for life.